Welcome to Chartbusters. We are coming to you live from the CNBC-TV18 Motilal Oswal studio. I'm Nigel and with me is Mangalam. And as you can see to the top of the screen, the frontline indices are trading well in the green. Well, the Nifty Bank, that's the one that's really pushing ahead from here on. So good going, and it's a good start, but we'll have to see where do we go from here on. Let's go across to Sachit Ananduteka to get a quick trade on the index. Sachi, hi, good morning. Well, if you bought the morning dip, you'll be very, very happy. What are the levels you're looking at both on the Nifty as well as the Nifty Bank?
Good morning, Nigel. Good morning, Mangalam. Clearly, if you look at the way Nifty is performing right now, there's a good chance that we may see a swing towards 23,700. But on a closing basis, there's a good likelihood that today's expiry may shape up somewhere close to around 23,650, 680 kind of a zone itself. So disclosure is that we are already long on the index via 23,450 call option. And here we are expecting that there could be a run up towards 280, 265 kind of a zone. So existing longs can be held on. When we look at Nifty Bank, even here, the support at 51,500 now looks very strong. Probably we may see a swing towards 51,800. And this is where we are expecting the Nifty Bank expiry as well. When we look at stocks, there are two stock ideas which are on our radar on the long side. One of them we have already recommended to our clients. Now, if you look at the structure of Hero MotoCorp, now throughout this particular series, the stock was just consolidating. In the last few trading sessions, we have seen a confident put writing action near that 3,500, 3,600 base. And there has been a breakout above that 3,700 level. So if you look at the daily RSI, it has also registered a swing breakout above its 50 level. So this is a good sign of developing momentum. We are expecting that this particular rally may extend towards 39.50, and that's why we are still recommending building fresh long positions. One can keep a stop loss somewhere close to around 36.80 in the April futures and continue holding longs for 39.50 target. The second stock which has hit our radar is L&T. Now, the stock was consolidating well near its 200-day exponential moving average. If you look at last three trading sessions, 3,500 put writing has been very confident. Even here, there's a higher top, higher bottom sequence which has been ongoing. And on the 60 minutes charts, there's a fresh breakout from a rounding bottom formation. So if you look at the pattern target, it is placed somewhere close to around 3,800. So even here in the April futures, one can deploy fresh long positions. The stop loss for the trade can be placed at 34.80. A trading target would be placed at around 3,700, but eventually we see this particular stock scaling towards 3,800.
All right, we take that point, Sachi. Thank you so much for joining in and giving us your view on the indices as well as individual stocks. A bunch of stocks actually recovering from the lows, where you spoke about some of these auto ancillary names, right? Samvardhana Motherson, for instance, has recovered nearly 6.5% from lows, almost, entering green territory right now. Nearly all of the losses have been recovered out here, although Sona BLW Precision, though it's off the lows, still sitting with a cut of almost 3% The interesting part when, Sachi was speaking about Hero MotoCorp and Bajaj Auto, etc., it'll be very interesting whether to see, the focus shifts back to the domestic auto players itself or not, because of the uncertainty that we are seeing on account of global-facing auto players itself. On that note, let's get an idea for profit coming in from our colleagues at Money Control Pro. Jitendra Gupta joins in with a stock.
Engineers India could be in focus. The company earlier struggled with execution. However, with improving efficiency, strong orders in hand, we think recovery looks imminent. During Q3, its revenue declined by 12% on a year-on-year basis due to weak execution, mainly in the turnkey segment. However, EBITDA surged by almost 95%, aided by cost efficiency, higher consultancy margins, and of course, lower employee costs that resulted in net profit jumped by almost 72% on a year-on-year basis. Post this, the company has revised revenue guidance downward to around 3,300 crore for FY25. However, if one look at the order inflows and order book, visibility is quite healthy. In Q3, it booked orders of worth around 1,900 crore, which was up from 640 crore last fiscal. The order book now stands at around 12,000 crore, which is almost 4 times its annual revenue. Company is expecting execution recovery along with higher margins in the coming quarters. Besides, it is expanding into data center, coal gasification, and green energy, which should support overall earnings. In terms of valuation, it is trading at 16 times its FY27 estimated earnings, which is reasonable, considering, of course, solid order book, recovery in execution, and 4% dividend yield at current price.
All right, with that, we'll take a short break. On the other side, we'll be joined by Abneesh Roy of Nuvama. A couple of the microfinance companies, they're doing well. So pull up something like a Fusion Microfinance, that's picked some pace. Shipping Corporation of India as well has seen some pickup in pace. And over the last two trading sessions, we've seen some sell-off in Senco. Senco's picked up after a few sessions of upper circuits. And then we had 2 days of profit booking as well. Ola Electric is one of the stocks that we'll need to keep an eye out on as well. Has been on the downtrend, but today seems to have picked up, currently sitting with a gain of almost 5.5%. But the news that came in overnight with regards to leadership changes in the FMCG space, HUL has announced the appointment of Rajneet Kohli as the executive director of the foods business. Remember, he's been with Britannia earlier, Jubilant Foodworks, as well as Coca-Cola and Asian Paints as well. We're now joined by Abneesh Roy, who's the Executive Director of Nuvama Institutional Equities, to discuss this leadership change and the consumer sector in general. Abneesh, it's a very interesting move, right? You call Unilever the leadership factory, and in this, it's the first lateral hire that we've seen in a long time. And this coming in from, someone like Britannia. How do you view this as a business opportunity? You've had interactions with Rajneet multiple times as well. What do you think would be his ask here, and what are your expectations from this change?
Yeah, thanks, Mangalam. You are absolutely right. Rare to see HUL hire people from outside at such senior level. So very interesting, I think, because Mr. Rajneet does bring experience of Domino's and around 2.5 years experience of Britannia. Of course, HUL's foods and refreshment business is very large, almost 1/4 of the business, and second largest after home care. So it's very important business. So I will say that currently overall urban slowdown and tea inflation and coffee inflation will be the immediate challenges. But I will say that hiring from outside from such good companies, I will say will bring a fresh perspective. And generally we see that HUL and Britannia are always a hiring ground for Mumbai and Bangalore respectively. And here interesting to see from Britannia this hire. I think overall it's a good development, because this is an important part of the business and there are a few challenges. But leadership changes in FMCG is quite common currently. United Spirits, Nestle, Pidilite, DMart, and more, we are seeing that. So I will say that this is a good development, and we'll closely monitor this.
All right, so someone from Bangalore moving to Bombay, we'll keep an eye out on that one. And since you spoke about the consumer environment, we're nearing the end of the fourth quarter. What are your initial expectations? What are your ground checks suggesting? What kind of volume growth can we see across the board? What do you think would be the outperformer here?
Yes, so 2-3 trends currently in March quarter. One, clearly the temperature has generally been on the higher side, 3-4 degrees higher than normal, and we are hitting again multi-year high this year also in terms of summer. That should benefit Varun Beverages. We expect almost 12% kind of volume growth in Varun Beverages in March quarter versus 4-5% in the past 2 quarters. So there is a step up. Same thing we are also seeing, for example, in Imami. Overall, as a company, we see a 6% kind of volume growth for Imami. And even Marico continues to do well. They are doing really well in their premium consumption in terms of the youth and digital brands. And there we expect 25-30% growth in that part of the business. Overall, in Marico, we expect a 6% growth number. In Nestle also, we are picking up slight recovery versus earlier quarter. Nestle is a company which always comes back. In most other staples companies, it will be a challenging quarter. So we expect almost flattish volumes, for example, for Unilever, and Colgate, again, quite tough quarter because the competitive intensity has gone up in toothpaste. Plus, Dabur is growing faster because more rural indexation. So overall in staples, it will be challenging quarter. Alcobev, we continue to remain positive. Of course, United Breweries will see that 12 days of Telangana, no sales will be there. Still, we expect almost mid-single-digit growth. So Alcobev, Varun Beverages, Imami, Berger, Pidilite. These will be the companies which will be on the top tier in terms of growth in their respective segments. Most other FMCG will be broadly in the 0 to 2% kind of a volume growth. That's our expectation. In the staple space, margin compression will remain for most companies. So that's because palm oil, tea, etc., copra, etc., continue to be quite inflationary. And FY26 will get more clarity on how the next crop will be.
All right, Avnish, I missed your view on Trent. You spoke about a lot of stocks, but Trent, there's a big debate out there. The worst is it behind it? And what about the stock price? The stock corrected from 8,000 to sub 5,000 rupees. In the last 1 month, it's bounced close to around 12% or thereabouts. What's your view? We have a note coming in from Macquarie today as well. They have initiated coverage. They believe it's good for more. Your take?
Yeah, absolutely good question. So we did see that high valuation stocks did correct a lot in the market mayhem, which we saw in the initial part of this calendar year. And after that, we have seen broader market comeback. We remain quite positive on Trent. See, in Trent and DMart especially, always this concern keeps coming back on store addition. See, how it works in retail generally is Q4 and March month where the bulk of the store addition happens because all the regulatory approvals, etc., they are linked to slightly towards the year ending. And that's why in March, suddenly we see a big spurt for Trent in terms of the Zudio, in terms of the West Side. Similarly, for DMart also, we are picking up similar that suddenly store addition picks up every year in the March later half, and that addresses the investor concern. So we remain quite positive that in spite of Shein being launched from Reliance, etc., in our view, both can coexist. Shein will take a lot of time to scale up, plus understanding the Indian overall consumer. It takes time, right? So we are quite positive on Trent. This was a good buying opportunity in my view. And after that, as you rightly said, there is some up move in the stock. From a medium long term, I think Trent will remain on the top tier growth within the retail space. And in retail, we like Trent, we like Jubilant Foods, and we like V-Mart also. On DMart, store addition is picking up, but because of Zepto's overall higher discounting, because they are going after the market share, I think margins for most of the grocery retailers, both quick commerce and on this side, I think that could remain challenging.
You did mention Jubilant Foodworks briefly. You also mentioned, Paints, Berger Paints as one of your picks, and Pidilite as well. So just wanted your thoughts on the QSR versus food aggregator debate, which is currently going on. Most on the street believe that maybe the next leg of consumption recovery will come in via QSRs and not food aggregators because of their repurposing, value focus, and also at the same time them having, work towards their own delivery fleet, etc. as well. So I wanted your thoughts on that. And the second part was on Paints and Pidilite. What do you think would be your top picks here?
Yeah, I'll take the second part of the question first. So in Paints, we have a clear preference for Berger. And that's not because there is any execution issue with Asian Paint. It's just that Berger is more of rural India, more of Eastern and Central India. So there the slowdown is lesser. Asian Paints, our sense is we expect around 3 to 4% volume growth in Q4. Against that, in Berger, we expect almost 9% volume growth. This was there even in March, in the December quarter. We expect that trend to continue. Pidilite remains a very strong compounding story, and they are targeting new consumption verticals in terms of EVs and the mobile manufacturing adhesive usage. Yes, Mr. Bharat Puri has done a commendable job, but I think Sudhanshu Vats clearly last 2-3 years has got trained under him. So we remain quite positive on Pidilite. And we see that in spite of some issues of the real estate slowdown, how it works is there is a 1 year to 3 year lag between Pidilite getting that consumption and the real estate projects getting launched. So we see that next 2-3 years, I think, for Pidilite remains strong. Now, coming back to the QSR, we see more of a market share gain for Jubilant Foods. So clearly, in terms of the value offering, they have done really well, and they're gaining market share from rest of the players in that space. So it's more of a selective call on Jubilant Foods. That's why we are quite positive. And you are right, in the broader quick commerce, we are seeing more players launch, and there is a unlisted player, Zepto, which is obviously quite aggressive. That does impact discounting, which is negative for the grocery retailers and maybe some of the other food companies. But Jubilant Foods clearly going after market share expansion in pizza, plus new verticals in terms of the chicken also, they are scaling up. So we are positive selectively in QSR space.
All right, Avnish, thank you so much for joining in. See you around. We'll have a conversation with you before the results season and during results as well. Have a good one. Have a good day. Right, with that, we'll simply do a short break. And as we do that, let's get you some programming note. The future belongs to Bharat, and the Rising Bharat Summit 2025 is where visionaries show us how to lead it. Get inspired by Arvind Srinivasu, the co-founder and CEO of Perplexity, the AI disruptor redefining how the world searches for knowledge. Gain transformative insights from Vivek Wadhwa, who's the CEO of Vionics Biosciences, acclaimed academic, entrepreneur, and author, on how India can lead the next wave of breakthrough in AI, science, and innovation. Join us at the Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi on April 8th and 9th for a powerful exchange of ideas shaping the nation's next leap. Book your passes now. The code is on your screen.
How important was it for you to move domicile back to India? What was the motivation there?
When we think about where do we go public, it's a very clear answer that we will go public in India because this is our home ground.
It's a heavy cost, but it's a small price to pay.
When are we looking at a possible listing?
That's minimum 2 years away.
You've spent the last 1 year trying to recoup market share on account of the embargo that the Reserve Bank, for instance, had put.
When this industry started, when we started 10 years back, we were not regulated. This space was not regulated. In the last 10 years, digital payments have grown massively. So I think it's kind of coming of age.
When do you take a call that, okay, we bet on this, it didn't work out, let's shutter this and move on to the next?
Happens very frequently when you're an experimental org, when you're trying these moonshots. A lot of times those moonshots will not reach the pace that you want them to reach. It's okay to take a pause, move it to something else.
Origins of Razorpay, 99 rejections before the 100th one finally succeeded.
It's not about me, right? It's not about me, and also
This sounds like relationship advice.
it's very important to not take things personally, as simple as that.
Welcome back. Let's address some of those flashes that were up for you on the screen. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that the Prime Minister's office, the Commerce Ministry, as well as the MEA officials, they're in active discussions to consider tariffs cuts for the United States. Timsy is the one that's picking up all of that scoop. She's joining in to fill us in with more details. Timsy, tell us more.
Well, yes, ahead of the much-awaited tariff announcements by the U.S., here back in India, top officials from the Prime Minister's office, Commerce Ministry and Ministry of External Affairs, currently what we understand from sources, are in active discussions to consider a possible deal or a possible tariff cuts to be offered to the U.S. Right now, as we speak, these discussions have been going on for last 2 to 3 days. And again, the discussions are still underway. A comprehensive review of the current entire categories of imports that India undertakes from the U.S., along with the duties that are currently charged, is on the drawing board. All the tariff lines, to be precise, are under this review. And some of the items that my sources indicated, which could see a duty cut, include medical and scientific instruments, where the current basic custom duty ranges between 7.5% to 10%. Cruise ship, where again the current basic custom duties is at 10%. Aircrafts, where the current rate of basic custom duty is 2.5%. Spacecraft, where the current basic custom duty is at 10%. Cars, where the basic custom duty ranges between 70% to 100%. Turbojets and propellers, where the current rate of basic custom duty is at 7.5%. High-end jewelry, where the current rate of basic custom duty is 20%. Gems and jewelry, again, where the basic custom duty rate is, say, at 20%. Footwear, where the current rate of basic custom duty is 35%. Plastic and polymers, which ranges between the basic custom duty between 7.5% to 15%. Organic chemicals, again, where the basic custom duty is 7.5%. Just to put some perspective here, India in the last calendar year, 2024, imported about 35 billion worth of goods from the US, which saw a growth of 6.5% during the same period last year. That is, when we compare calendar year 23 with 24, there was a 6.7% rise in the total goods imports. So let's see what happens.
Yes.
And what is that India will get in turn
Yes.
when it offers this sort of is something that we'll have to wait and watch for.
All right, MC, thank you for that. We'll keep an eye out on what develops out here. With that, we are out of time on this edition of Chartbusters. Stay tuned to CNBC TV18. As we do that, let's get you good news for our viewers. The India Business News Leader is now just a click away. This is the CNBC TV18 app, which gives you instant access to breaking news, in-depth articles, financial world updates at your fingertips. You can download the app from either the Apple Store, the Google Play Store, or just scan the QR code, which is there for you on the screen. Wrap this edition up, and on the other side, we have the team of Trading Art take the market action ahead.